Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And for this video, we'll be discussing the 1993 thriller, The Pelican Brief. Starring Julia Roberts, Denzel Washington, you had Robert Culp in it, Anthony Held, of course, from Silence of the Lambs, and you also had I forgot again, William Atherton also plays a small role in this thing. Because this movie is based on the John Grisham novel of the same name. And I think this was like the second movie. It was based on a John Grisham book. I should say The Pelican Brief was the second novel that John Grisham wrote that was translated into a film. Because the first one was The Firm, which came out the same year. And I think The Firm came out before The Pelican Brief did. And even though it came out, The Firm and The Pelican Brief both came out the same year, but The Pelican Brief came out like later on. And this one I just rewatched it just last night, and let me tell you, it was better than I remembered, because I did remember going to see this movie, and I didn't really care for it because all you see them was like running around the streets and switching hotel rooms and disguises, the Julia Roberts place. Was going to get into what? So I didn't really care for it, and they said, "Oh, let me rewatch it again. Let me give this thing a second shot." And so I watched it this last night and figured, okay, it's not as bad as I remembered. Of course, The Pelican Brief is a story that two Supreme Court justices have been murdered on the same night, within hours of each other. And they're trying to figure, that's when the FBI is trying to figure out, okay, because the FBI was in charge of the investigation of why one of these two judges killed. They're trying to capture, and they believed that there was this Muslim assassin who was hired to kill these two judges. And they figured that part out. What I'm trying to figure out is why would somebody hire this guy to kill the judges, and for what reason? And I think it's all political. Like this was a straight up political thriller. And of course, and then you switch to Denzel Washington character who plays a character named Gray. Well, his first name was Gray. I don't know why John Grisham calls his first character Gray and his first name. He plays a reporter for Washington Herald. I don't know if the Washington Herald is even an actual newspaper or not, but he plays a Washington D.C. reporter, and he's also trying to investigate the story. And his editor, who's played by John Lithgow. This movie has a terrific cast. Like a lot of the early John Grisham movies had a great cast in it. And he told him, "Look, there's nothing really here in this story." And I do believe there's something. And John Lithgow says, "I do believe, like you, there's something here, but you don't have any proof of anything, though, really." And then they switch to the other story, the main story, or the Julia Roberts character, who plays the main character of the story, named Darby Shore, who wrote this fictional brief because she was carrying on a love affair with a law professor, because she plays a law student, and she wrote her professor / lover gave her a challenge to say, "Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you write a theory?" Because they discussed this situation in class, and the law professor gave Darby a challenge. He said, "Let's say you come up with a theory, like a conspiracy theory, brief, to see why somebody would have these two judges killed." So Darby goes, playing with Julia Roberts, researches this thing. And she goes to like the law library in school. She went to like Tulane University, the character. So she goes to the law library. She does some research and see what kind of cases they work together. And the two judges agreed on and stuff. And says, "Hey, here's my idea." And she calls it the Pelican Brief. And it's because of the area. There's one particular area in the South where a guy, an industrialist who gave money, donated like several $1 million to the president's campaigns, and the president was played by Robert Culp, from I Spy and The Greatest American Hero, and And the only reason why he did that is because so that way he could influence the court, the Supreme Court, because he was drilling on his land. He found some oil. He wanted to be set up a drilling situation there to drill the oil out. But unfortunately, it's also a preservation thing there. We had all these pelicans there, and they migrate to this particular area to migrate. So he wants to get rid of all the pelicans so he can start drilling the oil there. And of course, with the Supreme, and there are several lawsuits going on, and it's eventually going to get to the Supreme Court. And these two judges that were killed were supposedly, and I know it's a crazy convoluted plot, but that's what the plot of the movie is. That the two judges, that the industrialist was afraid that these two judges were going to rule against him on the Supreme Court. So he hired an assassin to kill him, so that the president, who he effectively paid off with the $4 million donation for his campaign, they would hire two non-industrialist guys, or two non-environmentalists, to the Supreme Court to rule for the industrialists. That's what I mean. It is a spot. It's almost like a thriller, a conspiracy thriller, to kill the two judges, to hire two, and to put two new justices on there, who will rule for the industrialists, so they could drill there, and the hell with the environment, and the hell the consequences to the environment, and to hell with these pelicans. And so, I mean, it's just a conspiracy theory from Darby Shaw. I mean, it's just a theory that she came up with in her head for doing a little research. And people believe that actually happened. And of course, it eventually became, even though that Darby was thinking out of her ass, really, for this conspiracy theory. But it turns out that this conspiracy theory was actually true. And so when Darby finds out that her boyfriend was killed, when the law professor was killed in a car bomb, so she figured, hey, that these guys are going to come after me and shit. So she hides, and she's behind for going from hotel to hotel. She's being followed by everybody who was involved. Who was involved? The FBI who was investigating the story. The guys who want her killed off because she figured out what was happening. And of course, like I said earlier, the FBI was following her because they wanted to, protect her from all the people that were going to kill her. And then, of course, there's a Washington's character, because Julia Roberts, or Darby, eventually contacted Denzel Washington's character and said, hey, can you help me out? I'm willing to tell you my story. So they met in a hotel, and she tells her the whole story, and tells her why she believed what she believed. And he says, so of course, naturally, Denzel's character, Gray, says, where's your evidence? Where's your proof on all this stuff? And she says, it's just a theory I made up in my brief, and I think that the people who are chasing me believe it's real, which of course is eventually what happens. And so of course, Denzel runs around, and the two of them run around, and Denzel was protecting Darby throughout the rest of the movie. And then eventually, when they did contact the FBI, he said, okay, we're willing to, protect you. And Darby says, just get me out of the country. And then they eventually got the brief back, or a copy of the brief, and said, we got the brief, and we are investigating your brief to see if this theory is actually, true or not. We are investigating it. The theories that you wrote in your brief, we're investigating it. So, and we do believe that because of everything that's been going on, what's happening with you, what's happening with your boyfriend, and then you guys are getting chased by assassins and stuff. We do believe that your theory is real. Otherwise, you wouldn't be, going through all this stuff. And so they did eventually get her out of the country. And of course, Denzel Washington's character eventually wrote up this whole story that what's going on. It's kind of like, it's almost kind of like like a 1990s version of All the President's Men. And All the President's Men, of course, was in the 70s about the Watergate break-in. This is kind of like another version of that. What was more of like a legal thriller. And, I mean, both All the President's Men and the Pelican Brief are legal thrillers, but this is more around a law student instead of one law student and one newspaper reporter, compared to two newspaper reporters in All the President's Men, and that was actually a real story, and this one wasn't. But this was like a fictional story, but it plays out like All the President's Men almost, in a way. Especially when you had the reporter come in and investigate all this stuff. And of course, when the story is all over, and all the people and the president and all the people who were involved with the situation, they either got arrested or then they quit, and the ones who quit were still being investigated by the FBI, and the president, and instead of playing Robert Culp, he gave a great performance in this movie, and he told him, hey, he decided not to run for re-election. Because his character was eligible to run for re-election, and the next year he just says, I'm not going to run for re-election because of all the stuff that's been going on. There's no way we're going to get elected now, or re-elected with all this stuff going on. And so all that stuff's happening. So of course Denzel Washington does a TV interview, and of course the reporter asked him what Darby Shaw is that fake name or figment of your imagination, kind of like Deep Throat was in Watergate, and it didn't make the connection with Deep Throat and Watergate. And he says, no, it's not a fake name, and didn't make it up. She's a real person, but she is in hiding right now. She's under protection right now because of what's going on. And he says, I'm not going to say where she is. I'm not going to say whether or not made the name up or the person up. But she knows where she is. I know where she is. And I'm not saying to anybody where she is. But she is a unique person, an individual. And you see Julia Roberts, Darby, watching these interviews on TV, and for the first time in the movie, you see the trademark smile of Julia Roberts. And of course, she also mentioned this one particular scene when Julia Roberts was in the hotel room. You actually see her in a bra and panties, and it's one of the few times in movies where you actually see Julia Roberts' actual body. Now, I don't know if she used a body double, like she did in Pretty Woman, but we actually saw Julia Roberts' face in that scene. But I think you actually saw her actual body in that particular scene. Unlike the stuff that's seen in Pretty Woman, where you didn't see her face and they used a body double for Pretty Woman, because she doesn't do nude scenes. But she did the scene with just wearing a bra and pants and something, which was changing blouses and stuff. And you saw her in the bra. So, god damn. But it was one of the few times, that was before she had kids. So if you want to see her when she was still smoking hot, like she isn't still smoking. She's still smoking hot now, but she was even hotter back then. Because this was 3 years after her breakthrough role of Pretty Woman, so she was still smoking hot back then. She was like 20. She had to be about 26, 27 years old at that time. And of course, when they were filming this movie, they made a whole big deal with her and Denzel Washington because they're two hottest actors at that time. And all these rumors of them having a romance, and women were going after him, and she was like almost totally ignored because women were going after Denzel Washington, and there's 28 guys went after her at that time, which was pathetic guys. But the movie, like I said earlier, at first I did not like the movie at first, but then I saw it again saying this movie's not as bad as I remember. Because I didn't like the fact that we were running around running around and getting chased and stuff. I mean, it becomes like a chase movie for like half the movie. And it's like, Alright, can we start with the chase scenes already? And because it was that, to me it was that ridiculous with all the chase scenes in the film. Kind of like The Client. Then the next movie I saw was The Client. It's almost the same thing, same plot almost. Or a similar plot than The Pelican Brief. But because The Pelican Brief had better actors in it than The Client was. And of course you feel the threat more with The Pelican Brief than you did with The Client. But long story short, I'll cut this video short already. This is my review of the 1993 film The Pelican Brief. Please click on the video, please rate it. Feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel. Please forward this video on your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com. That's all WDY and C.com. That's our homepage and Rally Reviewer. Christine Moore. And please check out all the videos on my website, on my YouTube channel. And check out all of his videos on his website as well, on rallyc.com. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.